Alright, what's up everyone? My name is Jeffrey. How's it going? I wanted to do a quick video regarding my experience with supraventricular tachycardia, also known as SVT, and the surgery that I received recently, a couple days ago actually, known as a catheter ablation or cardiac ablation, to help resolve the issue. So really quickly, just to give you guys a quick background, what is SVT? SVT is basically an abnormally fast heart rhythm that happens within the heart. For me, it typically happened when I was working out extraneously. The heart rate would jump up to about 200 beats per minute, and it would actually stay there for a long time, even though I was resting. I had minor incidents, as I recall, back in even college, but they were so few and far between that I didn't really pay attention to them. As I got older, the experiences became more frequent and common. And so I was actually officially diagnosed with SVT about 3 years ago. I think I was at 31 at the time, and I basically went to jiu-jitsu class, and then as I was walking home, my heart rate was still really rapid, and I finally got home about 10 minutes later, and the heart rate would still maintain at about 200 beats per minute. So it was going off really quickly, and it would slow down temporarily but then speed back up even though I was resting. So about half an hour passed, and I finally realized, okay, I got to go to the doctor, emergency room, and have this checked out, and have him hopefully help me stop the heart or slow the heart rhythm down back to its normal rate. So I get there, they inject me with a bunch of fluids, and after about 2 hours worth of this nonstop cycle of really fast heart rhythm, slowing down and going back up again, they were finally able to slow the heart rate down by intravenously injecting me with fluids to slow it down. And so I followed up the next day with my cardiologist, who, after looking at my reports regarding my heart and all that and reading the charts, he officially diagnosed me with SVT. And again, that's basically just when the heart rate is really high. What happens? The details basically within the anatomy of the heart. Basically, there is an extra electrical pathway within the heart, and so it conducts extra electricity, which causes the heart rate to go a lot faster than it should and sustain itself at that rate for quite a while. So that was my basic diagnosis. Now, after that initial diagnosis, the doctor gave me options, and the options were to just monitor it as I have been, and he gave me a couple physical maneuvers to perform on myself in the event that I was put into SVT. Those are like the Valsalva maneuver, which is you basically breathe in and try to force it out, sort of like you're constipated. You can also hold down really hard on this artery right here, and basically try to control your breathing and breathe in and breathe out, and force it out again. The second option, a little more extreme, was medication, and that was basically just to be on meds for the rest of my life, particularly in instances when I was about to jump into a physical activity, an exercise of some sort. And then the last option, which is the most extreme, of course, is the cardiac ablation. And so initially 3 years ago, I really had my mindset where I was just going to try to overcome this naturally. Eat better, exercise more, do a lot more cardio, endurance work, and keep note that I generally am physically active and fit, and so I'm constantly always running and stuff. But I wanted to up that even further, and so since that initial scare when I went to the ER, I tried eating better, I tried exercising more often, etc. But unfortunately, the incidents were still there here and there. I'd go running, and randomly the SVT would come in. Thankfully, these instances were still not as long as the ER incident. Maybe they would last for like a couple minutes and then go away and subside. So I lived with it for several years, and I figured, okay, I'm just gonna do my thing, and hopefully eventually this goes away. Fast forward 3 years later, I'm still staying active and fit, and this was actually after a jiu-jitsu class. I was going pretty hard, doing a couple sparring sessions, and then all of a sudden I was stuck in SVT again, and my heart rate wouldn't go down. So I had to actually go outside because the cold air actually helps bring it down, I think. So I was actually going outside, squatting and trying to like really control my breathing, get it back down. But this episode, you know, it wouldn't cease for after a few minutes. It actually lasted about half an hour. And so, you know, after that half hour, I was just like, you know, thankfully it slowed down again and went back to normal, but that was a really long time to be in SVT. And so I was just sort of like fed up with it and really just agitated with my state, my condition. And I really wanted to just fix it, get it resolved. So, you know, I finally made the move to, you know, again, the next option was to either take meds, and I've never been one to want to take meds, especially for a lifetime. You know, working out, being physically fit and active is my lifestyle, and the thought of having to be on meds just to participate in those activities was not something that really, you know, grabbed my attention or something that I wanted to do. So I went ahead and, you know, made a point to want to proceed and carry out this catheter ablation procedure. Rather than just meeting with one doctor, I actually made it a point to meet with 4 different doctors, just to get varying perspectives and, you know, insights in terms of my condition and how I actually go about doing it. And thankfully, all of them did say the same, you know, they generally say the same thing. It was more of just trying to find the right doctor for it. And I'll always remember actually the first thing that I ended up going with a doctor named Dr. Roger Winkle, who is based out of Palo Alto with Silicon Valley Cardiology. Awesome doctor, but he was actually the first doctor I met. And I remember the first one of the things he said to me that really resonated and struck with me is that everybody has a breaking point. And you know, back in August recently, when I had that episode where that SVT lasted for about 30 minutes, for me that was the breaking point. You know, beyond the initial ER incident and all those episodes after that recent episode where it lasted for 30 minutes, I couldn't stand it anymore, and I just really wanted to get rid of it so I can participate in all my physical activities and exercise without having to worry or be concerned about SVT coming on. So I ended up, you know, meeting with all the 4 doctors, and then after consulting with them all and having my wife as well, you know, she was with me the whole time we were meeting with the doctors. We finally made the decision to go with Dr. Winkle, and so I called his receptionist and set an appointment. Which was a couple months out because you know, they're specialists and they're fairly busy doing procedures quite often. So a couple months out, but I finally had the procedure on December 20th. So that was good. I actually want to step back really quickly, and also in addition to meeting with the doctors, I think also what helped prior even to the operation itself is that I actually did a lot of research myself, you know, getting to understand my condition a lot more and a lot more thoroughly. So just reading up on SVT, the different types, the differences between that and afibrillation, you know, was really, really good to know. I also was able to read up on a lot of data in terms of the success rates of catheter ablations and how people come, you know, how successful they are in general. Another thing that helped is I spoke with a lot of friends who have had friends or colleagues that have had ablations, or friends who have directly had the ablation themselves, and it was really reassuring and comforting to know that all their procedures went really well, and you know, they were able to share their experiences with me and everything. So all that being said, you know, those were different action items that I took upon myself to understand what the solution that I was about to engage with, and it actually helped me prepare myself mentally before I went into the procedure. So let me dive in now to the procedure itself, which to me was actually a cakewalk. Seriously, if you're considering catheter ablations, there is not much to worry about. I mean, I know it is with your heart, and with every procedure there's always risks, but I went in with a lot of confidence after all the research I've done and all the people that I spoke with and the doctors I spoke with as well. So again, to break down the kind of the day of the procedure, just to give you an idea of what's to expect. You know, I was aware that they would be operating They actually insert a catheter through your groin region, and then they also attach patches on your chest to help triangulate and identify the source of the SVT. And so with that in mind, I made it a point to make sure I trimmed my groin region, shaved it down there as well, just so it was less work for the pre-op team. So I get to the hospital, ready to go. Initially, the first thing I took care of was a lot of the paperwork, so I had to go in, sign some papers, provide my insurance card, etc. After that, I went straight to the pre-op room, where they took my vitals. They measured my weight, height, etc., and prepared me for the procedure. About an hour and a half, I'd say, after that, we were ready to go. So they wheeled me over, said bye to my wife. They wheeled me over into the operating room, and away we went. We were ready to go. I was actually not sedated at all. They actually don't want to sedate you because it makes it easier to induce the SVT if you're awake. Which again didn't bother me because I wasn't too nervous after all the research I had done. So the doc came in, I met all the nurses, met the anesthesiologist, and the doctor came in and he talked to me. And he numbed my groin region because of the fact that that's where the catheters were going and being inserted. He actually did my left and right because he wasn't sure where my SVT was exactly, whether it was in the left atrium or the right atrium. So for precaution, he ended up inserting catheters in both regions. And so it was a little bit painful. Obviously you got to numb the area, so inserting the needles was a little bit painful, but it wasn't too bad. He inserted the catheters and they snaked it up to my heart. You got all these crazy monitors and electronics around going off here and there. And there aren't any nerves in your arteries that they insert the catheters into, so you don't actually feel it going up. But you do realize it's in your heart once your heart actually starts beating rapidly. So once my heart went into SVT or started beating really fast again, that's when I knew the catheters were in my heart. And so the entire time, he's mapping out the heart, and he actually went back to his station and was like pacing my heart, making it go fast, making it go slow, trying to identify the source of the SVT. And so that went on for maybe a good 15-20 minutes, I'd say. And then when he finally felt, when they finally felt confident where they knew where it was, the anesthesiologist eventually said, "Hey, I'm gonna give you some fluids to help calm you down," and it actually put me to sleep. So that's when I was out completely. And so I wake up about I went into surgery about maybe 11:30, 12, and then I woke up about 4:30 in the recovery room. I was a little tired and groggy just because I had anesthesia within my body, but it felt good. It felt like I had a good long nap. So I woke up, and eventually they brought me over to, after a little bit of rest, they brought me over to my room where I was on bed rest for a little while. And then the doctor came in and talked to me briefly, said that everything went well as the nurses. And then a lot of it was just a lot of bed rest since then. I had like minor bleeding in my right groin, so they wanted to make sure that I was not going to be that the artery wouldn't bleed from then on out. So they had to make sure that the clot was good. They actually gave me the option to go home that night, and I, just for safety and precaution, I ended up wanting to stay the night just in case. There was anything that went wrong. And it was actually good that I stayed the night because of the fact that my right groin area actually had a minor, there's a little bit of minor bleeding. So they just, the nurse, thankfully, every hour or so she'd come in and check it and make sure that the bleeding would slowly subside, be subsiding over time. And so it was just throughout the whole night. It was just a constant, them checking up on me, checking my groin area, making sure it was okay. I did take a walk twice over the course of 24 hours. The nurse came and we exercised, and she wanted to check the groin area after I was walking around and make sure it was okay. And so we did a couple walks. By about, I'd say 11 o'clock the next day, 11 or 12 the next day, they finally discharged me. And so and the thing is, you're not supposed to carry anything or lift anything heavy. So, you know, they wheeled me out to the car and went home, had a nice meal, and just kind of took it easy and relaxed. To be honest, you know, I felt pretty good. Now, you know, post surgery, the doctor says that I shouldn't work out or do anything extraneous for 7 days. You know, I can drive maybe after 2 or 3 days, but in terms of everything else, there's no restrictions. You know, I can take a shower and all that stuff. No hot tubs, no bathtubs, swimming pools, etc., where the groin area can possibly get infected. None of that for about 7 days. But other than that, you know, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling great. And I can't wait to get back to, you know, working out the way I do in about a week and ramping up for 2017, which is right around the corner. So I'm glad that I got it done in 2016. Just as a recap, I guess, you know, again, I wanted to make this video for all you guys who are considering getting an ablation, who have supraventricular tachycardia, or who have afibrillation. You know, I know that it might be a little bit nerve-wracking because of the fact that it is your heart, but you know, there's not a big need to be concerned, because, you know, I'd say again, like, talk to people that you know that have had the surgery or procedure, or maybe they know people that have had it. Get their experiences, get their insights, do your research online, get to know your condition, the solutions, what you can do. Read stories, watch YouTube testimonials, which helped me a lot and is a big reason why I'm creating this for you guys. And then also, you know, seek consultation from multiple doctors. I think it would just give you peace of mind, hearing from multiple professionals in the field of your condition and of what they can bring to the table for you. And again, those professionals, the specific field is called electrophysiologist. That's who was the one that performed the procedure on my heart. So with that being said, again, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was really helpful for you guys. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions or comments. Be happy to help you guys out and answer anything you have. Thanks again for watching. Have a blessed you know, holidays, and say goodbye to 2016 and ring in the new year 2017 really well.